To our listeners, collaboration is not just about forming partnerships. It's about creating a shared vision for success.
The World Health Organization actually says the leading cause of disability in the world, believe it or not, is back pain.
It's not just that chronic pains they affect the individuals, but they also affect the economy in a broader sense.
I would strongly recommend that you go to a regulated healthcare professional, go to someone who can answer your questions. Like I said, do a thorough examination.
Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kripa Anand, bringing you inspiring stories and actionable insights from small business success. Today, we're exploring workplace health with Dr. Ayla Azad, CEO of Canadian Chiropractic Association. A seasoned leader with over 20 years of experience, Dr. Azad is passionate about MSK health and empowering businesses with tools like the MSK Workplace Toolkit and so much more. Join us as we explore her expert insights into workplace ergonomics, chronic pain management, and strategies for healthier, more productive teams. Dr. Azad, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for bringing attention to such an important topic.
Definitely, it's our pleasure. So now to begin with, for all the listeners who don't know what MSK Health is, first of all, can you please address them and explain them as simply as possible?
Yes.
What is MSK Health?
It's a great question. So MSK Health, musculoskeletal is the big word for it.
Mhm.
But MSK Health is anything related to muscles, bones, joints, and nervous system. So imagine things like back pain, neck pain,
Right.
shoulder pain, any joint in your body. Headaches is
Mhm.
another part of musculoskeletal conditions, or maybe carpal tunnel syndrome. You know, you get that numbness into your fingers. So that encompasses MSK Health.
Wow. So, can you please tell us some amazing statistics about the MSK Health and how many people have it in
Yeah,
general?
you know what? It's quite staggering, actually, MSK Health. So the World Health Organization actually says the leading cause of disability in the world, believe it or not, is back pain. Is
Oh
low
my
back
God.
pain. I know it's surprising to many people. They go, "What? Back pain?" You know, you would think of, the cancers or
Right, the
something
deadly
much more,
diseases,
these
right.
deadly diseases, but something as simple, well, I'm not going to say it's simple, it's complex,
Right.
as low back pain causes so much disability and pain and suffering in so many people, and the impacts are staggering. Almost 80% of Canadians will experience back pain at one point in their life,
Right.
and that will impact anything and everything that you do. You look at the economic burden of MSK Health. Something like it costs the economy like $41 billion
Oh my God.
because of lost time of work, injuries, lost productivity, taking days off work. It's also one of the drivers of the leading cause of, and that's prevention.
Right.
What do we do? The early signs, how can we prevent it? And there are things that you can do, things like keep moving. Physical activity. We know that is going to not just help with many other areas in your health, but
Right.
also for your body. We're so sedentary, right? Especially in Canada, we sit a lot. We
Right.
need to keep moving. So that's one thing. Diet, nutrition, how you sleep, all these things have an impact on your overall physical health. And so I would say that's why it's so important to seek help from a professional like a chiropractor, because we can really help put that wellness picture together for you and help you with strategies to stay well.
Definitely, because it's not just that chronic pains they affect the individuals, but they also affect the economy in a broader sense, right?
Yes.
If we talk about small businesses, what connection do you think small businesses have with all the chronic pains and MSK?
Well, the biggest thing, so I was a small business owner as well.
Oh wow.
Yes, because
Yeah.
my clinic, small business, right?
Right, right.
In Ajax, I had a clinic, a multidisciplinary clinic, and I really believe that small business is the backbone of the Canadian economy. I
Exactly.
really do. We're so many small businesses out there.
Right.
And if you have workers in your small business that are in chronic pain, you lose productivity. Now you're
Yes.
suddenly not being as productive. You're not, putting out what you need to put out from
Right.
your business. And
Because
so
most of your mental effort is going in
exactly.
taking care of yourself.
Exactly. Well,
Right.
what happens is what we found is people in chronic pain most likely also have a mental health issue. And we know the mental health conversation right now. There are so many Canadians struggling with mental health. I believe the stat was, I think, like 62% of people with chronic pain will also have a mental health issue.
Wow, that's
It
a
makes
big
sense,
number.
right?
Yeah.
If you're in constant pain all the time, of course, it's going to start impacting your mental health, how you feel, how you think, depression. You just, it really wears away at you. And so for a small business, it's so critical that we're having these conversations and
Right.
empowering our workers to take care of themselves so we can be productive and continue to contribute to the economy the way small business does.
That's so true. And the stats that you just mentioned, they are eye opener, right?
Yes.
So, dear listeners, workplace wellness is more than a trend. It's a game changer for businesses. Investing in employees' health today builds a stronger, more engaged, and resilient team. Prioritize wellness to secure your workplace future. Now let's talk about what if we're in a company and we are witnessing that, oh, my colleagues are suffering from this and
Mm.
they're experiencing it, but we don't really know our position to handle that, right? Where do
Yeah.
we draw the boundary?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great question.
Right.
And that's why we released the MSK toolkit, is so that businesses can, they can download this toolkit, it's free, and they can look at strategies on how to start these conversations. How do you have that conversation with your team, with your colleague? What do you say? How do you approach it? So we've got a ton of stats on there, but we've got downloadable posters you can put up. We've got infographics. We've got things that can help you start that conversation. It's
Right.
not that different, I think, from the mental health conversation many years ago. There was such a stigma, right? Like,
Right.
I just remember 10, 15 years ago, you would never go in your workplace and go, feeling kind of depressed. Like, that just wasn't a conversation that we
Right.
would have. Yet now, today, we have empowered our people, our employees, our workers to say it's okay to talk about your
Right. The
mental health.
acceptance has built over
It's
time. Yeah.
exactly. And I
Yeah.
think we need the same thing for MSK health because they're so interconnected. It should be okay for me to go, oh, but you know what? My neck is killing me. It's so hard for me to sit at my desk. I don't know what to do. My shoulder, it goes down to my shoulder. It should be okay and then not be judged for that,
Right.
because I've heard that from my years in practice. Patients would tell me, I don't want to bring it up at work because they'll think I'm weak, or they'll think, that I'm just making an excuse, that I don't want to do the
Yeah.
work.
Or
Right?
you're lazy.
Oh, you're
So many people
exactly.
misunderstand that.
That is
Right.
so true. Or I'm lazy. I don't want to work.
Right.
And so that stigma needs to change. Just like it is changing for mental health, we need to do the same for MSK health.
Right, because I think it's a constant struggle between your own mind, right? That
Yes.
should you say that? Would it be appropriate?
Yeah.
But for like if someone has just started out their career, right, they can still get a lot of support. There are a lot of
course.
resources out there, right?
Yes.
But it's still difficult for people who are already in the position of being a leader or
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur because they've already achieved so much and now so much is at the stake, so they can't do anything about it, right?
Mhm.
So, what suggestion do you have to give to the leaders because they don't just have to take care of their own selves, but they also have so many other people under them, right?
Yes, exactly.
How would you
I
address
would I
that?
would say, as a leader myself, I always say leaders set the tone from
Right.
the top. We are the ones that can change the culture by our actions. And I always say that, it should be actions, not just words. And
Right.
so, when you look at our toolkit, we actually talk about that. We say that it's the leadership that has to set this tone. So I would really advise leaders to empower themselves with knowledge, understand the issues.
Right.
I would say, get to know what's going on. What is troubling the workers, right?
Right.
Maybe an anonymous survey. Maybe you want a small focus group with your and say, hey, it's a safe space. Let's talk about this. But if the leadership doesn't have the buy-in and the understanding that this is an issue and we need to take it, it's not going to happen.
Right,
Right.
because
So,
any employee spends at least 7 to 8 hours at a workplace, right?
yes.
More or less 2 3 hours.
Yes.
So it's a very important, the office space, it's a very important part of your
Huge.
life. And if you're not comfortable, you're obviously going to have issues, right?
Exactly. And in fact, we have stats. There was a survey that was done and it was fascinating. I think it was like 63% of the workers that were surveyed said that their workplace contributes to their aches and pains. So that's more than half of your workforce is telling you
Right.
that the setup you have for me or the work that I am doing is contributing to my pain and my right there is a call to action for leaders, right? In the MSK space. So what is the ergonomic setup that you're providing? What are the tools and resources that you're giving so that people understand? And now with the hybrid workforce, we have an even more complex environment because I know of people sitting on their beds, on their
Right,
laptops, or
right.
sitting on a kitchen counter, or, and they're working in these environments. And now the workplace has shifted into our homes
Right.
as well. So,
Especially after COVID.
especially after COVID. So
Yeah.
now we also have to have those conversations, right? So
Right.
where are you sitting? Are you on a couch? Like what, leaning forward for 8 hours a day? What those conversations also
Right.
have to happen. So I think leadership is so essential in this. And that's why we did this toolkit, is to raise that awareness amongst leadership so they can make the changes that are needed.
That's so true what you just said. Because I think it's also about your mentality, like working for longer hours and exhausting yourself. I think it was considered as a medal kind of
A
thing,
badge of
right?
honor.
A badge of honor, right?
Yeah.
But we need to understand that we live to work. It's not the
Yeah.
other way around.
Right.
Right?
That's a great philosophy. Yeah. And
Right.
look, I love work. I love what I do. So
Right.
I always say I don't work a day in my life because I'm passionate about what I do and I love it. So and there are people out there same, but I think the key is that you're looking at what are the choices that I'm making and how does that benefit my health? And because health is not just, oh, I feel pain or not feel pain. It's also
Right.
your environment, it's your financial health, it's your spiritual health, it's
Yes.
your mental health, it's all of it. So I think it's so important that we take a step back and assess all of that for ourselves. What I found is that the physical health sometimes is put on the back burner, right?
Right.
Like we'll go, oh, I've worked all day, but I don't want to go to the gym, or oh, I don't want to do that 30-minute walk that I
Right.
should be doing. It's so easy for us to make excuses. And so we need to elevate the conversation and change it so that people go, no, I need to do this because I know it's going to benefit me. I need to do the physical activity. I need to look at my desk setup and make sure I'm comfortable. I need to keep moving. Those types of things have to get into our consciousness so that we can action it.
Right, because taking care of our own selves is never a priority, right?
Yeah.
So we need to make this a priority, and all other things they'll automatically set in
Yeah,
place, right?
exactly.
All right. So can you please tell all of our listeners the top 5 or 3 takeaways from the MSK toolkit?
Yeah, the MSK toolkit is great because one, it gives you, the stats that we talked about. So you understand how big of a problem this potentially could be. But then
Right.
it gives you a lot of strategies that you can do to implement things into your workplace depending on your needs, right? So it talks about, get your leadership buy-in, maybe have a little committee, have these focus groups, an employee engagement survey. It gives you ideas
To channelize it.
yes, exactly.
Right.
And then it also has some great, infographics. You can print off a poster and put it up in the workplace, or little things like information like that,
Right.
just to help start the conversation. And the other thing is, if you download it, we are always available to have a conversation with you. So the Canadian Chiropractic Association, we've done a lot of presentations at large national employers. We will come and do a lunch and learn. We will speak to you about what a strategy could look like. So we will support you in that journey. So you don't have to sit there and go, I don't know what to do. Where do I start? Contact us and we'll be happy to help.
Definitely. And thank you so much for those insights. Stay tuned as we discuss how interprofessional collaboration can elevate workplace wellness strategies.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. You still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Four billion people check their email every day. That's 4 billion missed opportunities if your message doesn't make it. To reach your customer's inbox, you need a winning strategy. And Constant Contact delivers. Literally, over 97% deliverability. Elevate your email game with easy-to-use templates, writing assistants powered by AI, and in-depth metrics. Ensuring your email is flawless, delivered, and read. Constant Contact delivers. Give it a try.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, we're in the business of you.
We're here to help you plug in,
connect and recharge,
make an impression,
and meet with confidence.
With 19 brands built for business,
your business gets even more rewarding.
With an award-winning loyalty program at 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide.
Welcome back, guys. Let's explore the role of teamwork in fostering better MSK health outcomes. Now, I just want to understand something.
Yes.
So, from a spiritual perspective, if your spiritual health is not that great, will that affect your MSK as well?
I think when you say spiritual health, I would tie that back to mental health. And so I would say yes. Okay. Your mental health has a direct impact on your physical health. Your physical health has a direct impact on your mental health.
Right.
You cannot separate the two. So you can't say, okay, my back hurts, but it's not going to affect how I think or feel or believe, right?
Right.
Or I'm feeling depressed, so it's not going to impact how I'm feeling physically.
Right.
That they are so intertwined that you have to look at all of them. We are not silos. We're not like, okay, we're going to do this now and then we're going to do this.
It's all mixed.
It's all connected and it's all mixed together. So you have to look at all of it. And then work on what you need to work on.
To our listeners, collaboration is not just about forming partnerships. It's about creating a shared vision for success. Together, we can work towards a healthier, happier, and more productive future for everyone. Let's embrace teamwork as the cornerstone of workplace wellness. Because sometimes when we're feeling very depressed or something terrible that has happened in our personal lives, we feel the heartache also, the physical heartache as well.
Physical pain, of course. Depression has physical pain associated with it. And absolutely, that's why when we have the mental health conversation that's happening in the system right now, and I think it's amazing that how mental health has come to our forefront and we are actually talking so much about mental health now. It's so good that we can now start to say, by the way, you're also looking at physical health. So the
Right.
two are so beautifully connected. And then we can have a significant impact on how we're feeling and how we're producing in our workplaces.
I'm so glad that this conversation about mental health, it has started and it is
Yes.
doing so well that everyone's talking about it right now,
Yes.
right? The taboo, it is almost eradicated.
Yes.
So now my question is that with this, the workplaces as well, they're initiating a lot of programs, a lot
Yes.
of mental health groups, small
Mhm.
groups, focus groups, as you just mentioned.
Mm.
So how do you think, can you give us some examples of if you've witnessed this in your real life,
Yeah.
the small businesses or medium businesses changing their course by using the
Yeah,
MSK toolkit?
absolutely. Over my years in practice, I've seen, I remember many years ago, I've been in practice for many years, but many years ago, this concept of sit to stand desks came in, right? And suddenly people were like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I
Right.
can stand up at work? And yeah, it's a good thing to do. And then we now have more and more research that talks about your posture and how you need to keep moving. And it's the prolonged nature of, like, I can sit like this and it's not hurting me.
Right.
This is fine. But
Right.
if I stay in this position for 8 hours and don't move, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
If I stand for 8 hours and don't sit down, it's going to hurt. So the key is that you keep moving. And I have seen workplaces that have done ergonomic assessments, for example. They've brought someone in and they've gone around and assessed all the ergonomics and made little changes.
Mhm.
And that's had a significant impact on how their workers are feeling. And, it can be something so small. I remember a patient who was getting terrible neck pain and pain down her arm. And no matter what I did, it wasn't going away. I was
Mhm.
like, what else can I do here? Believe it or not, once I started asking her, I want you to tell me exactly what you're doing all day. You know what we found out? She was sitting at her desk. Guess where her main monitor was?
Oh, so you got a stiffness here.
So
Yeah.
what if you're like this for 8 hours,
Right.
just staring at this one monitor? You think, of course. So no matter, even if I was doing her treatment, she would go to work and then she would. So I said to her, I said, can we move your monitor? If that's your main one, why isn't it right in front of you?
At 90 degrees.
Yeah,
right?
like
Yeah.
right in front of you so that your eyes are hitting the middle of the monitor. And on the toolkit, we even have a poster on what should be a good ergonomic setup to sit at a desk.
Right.
And that one little change completely changed her condition. Her pain
Wow.
went away. She was able to move her arm. She wasn't getting the referral down her arm anymore. Her neck eased up. And suddenly, it just that one little thing. So I would, that's what I mean by this toolkit. It gives you the ideas to start thinking about
Right.
what can we do? It could be an ergonomic assessment. It could be a lunch and learn where you bring in, let's say, a chiropractor who says, did you know? You can do this. You can do this. Have
Fun
you thought?
facts.
Fun facts. Let's do some stretching that we can do at our desks. It could be as small as that, and that can have a huge impact.
Wow, I think we'll get a lot of solutions if we just go back and track our routine. And if we just write it down, I think we'll be able to figure out where exactly the problem lies.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Thank you so much for the insights again. Dear folks, the future of workplace wellness holds incredible promise, but it requires action today. Making informed decisions about employee health is key to driving long term success. Be proactive and let your team's well being pave the way for a brighter tomorrow. Before we let you go, if you could just give one piece of advice to all the people who are listening to you right now. They're a mixture of people. There are
Yes.
young entrepreneurs, people who are thinking of doing a startup, and people who have already been in the industry since the last 10, 15 years.
Yes.
What one advice would you like to give to them which will benefit them for the years to come?
I would say my one advice would be have the conversation and keep moving.
Keep moving.
Keep
right.
moving.
Right.
And that's keep moving in business.
It's so silly because it's such a simple thing, but
simple thing, but
we
it's
don't do that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Keep your body moving, keep your mind moving, keep your business moving. Just keep moving. It's so important for our overall health.
So there you go. Now you know the secret of never getting a headache again in your life. Thank you so much for the
Thank
conversation,
you.
Dr. Azad. It was an absolute pleasure having you here, and I hope we can do this again sometime very soon.
Absolutely. I would love to come back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Azad, for sharing your expertise and insights on workplace wellness and MSK health. To our listeners, we hope today's discussion inspired you to rethink workplace health as a critical business strategy. A big thank you to our sponsors, RBC, UPS, Constant Contact, IHG Hotels and Resorts, and Google for their unwavering support and for making this podcast possible. Don't forget to subscribe to Canadian SME Small Business Magazine at canadiansme.ca for more valuable insights.